This is Vomiting Rainbows, episode number 27.
Mm-hmm.
And in this episode, we have a guest star, shittyDJ.
Kavon.
Or Kavon, however you want to look at it.
Called you a star, bro.
And we talk about other stars, such as Richard Simmons, and how Mike doesn't think we should pry into his personal life.
And then we talk about some, what was it, the teardrop hack?
Teardrop or something like that.
We talk about some heavy-duty tech hack stuff. Yeah.
It gets a little conspiracy theory.
It's a little wacky, and we talk about how your devices at home are listening to you and recording you.
And then we finish it off with Extreme Doritos. Extreme. This is Vomiting Rainbows, episode number 27. 27 is big for us. It's big for us because this is a podcast where I tell my buddy Mike and now guest star shittyDJ.
Is that what I'm going by today?
Or Kavon.
Okay.
We can go
do you
by either.
prefer?
What do you prefer?
Whatever.
What do you think you're most known as?
Oprah?
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever you guys flows off the tongue easier.
I'll go Kavon. You go shittyDJ.
Okay, so
Cover all
we'll
our
just
bases.
switch it up. And so I tell these two guys stories that they know nothing about, and then they chew them up and spit them back out in a beautiful rainbow. So, we are on a podcast, and we're pretty close to number one, right?
Always number one.
Always number one.
Yeah, man.
We've got a huge following. We've got all of our sponsors. So
I find, I just looked on YouTube, and there was, some username called We Vomit Rainbows that has 138 subscribers. So things that we aren't even, officially affiliated with have, literally tens of people checking it out.
Tens of 20s of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've been following this, but the Missing Richard podcast.
Richard Simmons?
Yeah.
See, this is the thing. I haven't delved into this story, but I've seen the headlines over the last probably 2 weeks, and I don't really know the details or really what the story is, but the headline,
Well, I'll help you with
the concept's awesome.
Right.
Saving Richard Simmons, and you find it's a podcast because missing, Richard Simmons is missing. I'm like, how is he missing?
Right. Exactly.
Is he missing?
He's
Just not seen.
He's not.
So they claim that's missing.
He's either he's gone from a guy who went out every single morning to his driveway and greeted people as they came by to a hermit basically overnight.
And this guy's doing a podcast about it?
Yeah. And the guy who's doing the podcast is a friend of his.
Yeah.
So it's like a concerned friend podcast.
But is he local? I mean, is it just kind of secondhand news? That
No. He lives two fences down.
Oh,
as he
wow.
puts
That makes it great then.
Yeah. But what a weird thing. Dude, my friend's missing. I know I'll start a podcast about him missing.
Right.
I mean, what's is episode one? I think my friend's missing. I'm going to knock on his door. Oh, dude, you're not missing.
I think he started the podcast after he couldn't get through to him anymore. He wouldn't answer his phone calls. He wouldn't answer his emails.
Maybe Richard Simmons is just avoiding this guy because he's a freaky podcast stalker. You know what I mean? Maybe Richard Simmons is everywhere else, but he's just staying away from this guy because he sounds kind of like a stalker, right?
Well, I mean, it could be that. It could be anything. I mean, Richard Simmons has been kind of hit recently pretty hard as not being open or out about his sexuality.
What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
All kinds of stuff. Maybe he became a recluse for some reason or another.
Wait, you're saying that Richard Simmons has disappeared. He's become a hermit because of his sexuality?
Well, I mean, that's what I was listening to Howard Stern today, and he was saying he's very closed off about his private life.
Yeah.
And so they were speculating.
Speculating what? That
maybe there's some
that he's straight after all these years? I mean, I thought Richard Simmons was I thought he was gay.
I don't think he's commented anywhere on that.
Well, it's none of my business,
right?
And that's okay.
I think that's what they were alluding to is that people were trying to dive into his private life more and more.
Yeah,
and he did not appreciate it.
Yeah, I respect that. And now this guy's doing a creepy podcast. I mean, it's cool, but you don't really know. Is this guy really friends with him? Or just a nosy neighbor, right?
Well, the other thing that somebody was saying is if you want to have to pull yourself out of mainstream media and be completely private, then it becomes weird when you start turning down every single thing and now people start to get really entranced on why you've closed yourself off.
This is the weirdest thing, though. This is the most Richard Simmons has been in the news probably like in at least a couple years, which is kind of genius. So what you're saying is like maybe I could have Kavon do this podcast and then just be like, oh, like, yeah, man, Mike's missing. And then the podcast would become bigger than ever because people would be like, dude, No Name's missing?
It would
like
be
Kavon
vomiting rainbows looking for Mike.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
well, that's what I was going to ask. I'm like, do you guys know of friends that would care enough to do a podcast about you if you were missing?
No.
Absolutely not. I think most of my friends would just assume like I just went on a motorcycle ride and never came back. I think it's different, right? I mean, I don't know. Like guys are, well, I guess I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think most of my friends would be like, oh yeah, like Nelson went underground. Like, I don't think it would surprise anyone if I disappeared off the face of the earth. Like,
not at all. After talking every day, you're like, fuck this. I'm done.
Yeah. Well, no, just the fact that kind of like my people who know me know that I kind of have those tendencies of like, I'm just gonna go up in the mountains, live in an RV. You know, kind of be like a weirdo, start a cult or something.
You want to start like a Facebook group? And like, why a podcast? It's just so like limiting to like get your search out.
I think I don't.
Have you listened to the podcast?
I have. It's good.
Is it good?
It's good. It's got this thing has blown up almost as big as Serial.
Yeah.
Serial was the #1 podcast.
Like, how much can you talk daily about this?
He's only doing 6 episodes.
Okay.
And
So
wait
it's
a second.
not like he's like going on and on and on about this.
It's just like, oh yeah, someone cut the lawn today.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So is he like in front of Richard Simmons' house, or like how long? This is the thing. There's a true talent if this guy can talk for like 45 minutes by himself in front of some guy's house and make it interesting. That's pretty amazing.
Is he doing it out front, or is he just doing like in his basement?
No,
Okay.
he's doing it all over. So a lot of the things that he's doing is like talking to his other good friends, talking to the people who run his studio. So he has a studio where he taught like weekly classes.
Wait, time out. You're telling me that like in 2016, I could have gone to Los Angeles and taken an aerobics class, and Richard Simmons would have been my
You
instructor.
could have gone to Slim.
I don't believe it.
I don't believe any of this.
You could have gone to, it's called Slimmons.
You're lying.
He's been teaching there since 1967.
I believe that he has his own health club, but I do not believe that dude is there teaching aerobics. He might have like a bunch of other people doing it. I mean, like he might have a school.
He would have like a heart attack in the middle of it. He's like, he's not.
No,
way.
he was still doing it.
How do you know this? Is this just from the podcast?
It's from the podcast.
Really?
I assume podcast is reality.
Yeah. All right. I'll believe you.
Are you going to pop my balloon?
I'm in. Okay,
Don't-
that's amazing.
Don't burst my bubble on this.
It's amazing.
So the last time anyone talked to Richard Simmons from the media was the anchor woman Samantha Guthrie from the Today Show.
Yeah.
And that was last March 2016.
Oh wow. So
And he wouldn't do on camera. He only did it via phone.
are we sure that he isn't having some type of health crisis or that he's alive? I mean, the thing is just because someone goes missing doesn't mean that there's foul play. Like he's,
Well, they claim that, what was it? The housekeeper's keeping him held hostage?
So that's one of the things that they're alluding to is that his housekeeper has taken full control of his life. His house caretaker. So she's always been kind of very active in the care of him throughout his life.
Yeah.
But what would be the purpose of, like, what benefit does that caretaker get by,
I mean, he's I really don't know. I mean,
it's like that movie Misery, right?
Yeah, well, something like that.
Yeah. So the other thing that this guy said is he said, he actually was able to talk to Richard. This is one of the last times that he got to talk to Richard. And he said, it was 6 p.m. I went to his house. He was sitting in his living room, and he was very weak mentally and physically. He said he was trembling and said, Mario, this is a guy who does the podcast, I called you here because we cannot see each other anymore. I'm just going to stay here. Like,
Well,
and then the weirdest thing is his friend was like, are you suicidal? Like, what's going on?
Wink
like,
once if you're being held captive.
Right.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah. He said that after this, he just stopped communication altogether. Yeah. He went back to check on him to see if he was okay. Yeah. And when he went to go ring the doorbell, they had put up a new wall and removed the doorbell. So there's literally no way to knock on his door unless you like hop the fence and go through his security.
Richard Simmons is 68 years old. Could it be that he's just getting old and like he's not, like maybe like he's known as this like exercise guru, and maybe like his body's going and his mind's going, and maybe he just wants to kind of, like watch TV in his underwear and not be bothered by people. Maybe he has enough money where he has his caretaker. She can get him all the ice cream and donuts he wants, and he just wants to go out like that. I mean, I think we should respect this guy's pride. I feel kind of dirty just talking about this. I don't think there's any foul play going on.
Out of all the things that you feel dirty about that we've talked about on this podcast, you feel dirty about talking about Richard Simmons' private life.
I think Richard Simmons, he's an enigma. He's bigger than what he's known for. I mean, like he has like a weird positive energy about him that's kind of like, it's weird. Like I don't think it's somebody that I don't think I would like if I met him or hung out with him. But at the same time, there's something endearing about him and something that, I don't know, like he's just a nice person. He seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, I mean, he had like, he was actually extremely successful. So he, right now they estimate he's worth about 15 to 20 million. So that's a lot of sweat into the oldies tapes.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, and that's the thing. Like he was an innovator, right?
Right.
I mean, think about how many women and people have exercised to his videos. It's kind of probably why everyone's so out of shape.
He has
Sean T.
He has an Emmy. He has an Emmy from his talk show.
Yeah. So do you think there's something horrible going on? I mean, like to me, it seems a little crazy. I mean, it just seems crazy.
Well, it was just, it's like someone like Andy Cohen, or someone of that ilk. They like a very hardworking guy who's strived, like he had a Sirius radio show. He had all of these things going on until he just shut them all down. He just moved away from every one of them.
That's what I'm saying. To me, this sounds like we're getting all concerned because the guy's like decided to retire. Like he's done. Like he's 68 years old. He's just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be in the public eye. I just want to I don't want to, teach my classes anymore. I just want to sit around and eat donuts, maybe smoke weed or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's okay. Like he's just, and this, to me, this sounds what's this guy named Mario? Is that?
Yeah.
It sounds like Mario was like part of like this inner circle of Simmons' life, and, Richard Simmons is done.
Oh, no, sorry. That Mario was the guy who talked to him. It's Dan Tabisky.
It's just a neighbor.
Just a neighbor. And someone who got to meet him through the Slimmons class.
See, that's insane. I'm actually doing something I've never done before. I'm actually getting online during the podcast. And Richard Simmons has a Twitter. And he's talking. I mean, he's like put stuff up 2 days ago. Make a plan for this week and plan for success.
He has staff who maintain his Twitter.
You think so?
Yeah, no one. Yeah, most.
That's like
people have. Yeah,
when Trump tweets something like normal and cognitive.
Yeah,
that's not him.
That's not him. Okay.
Because.
Wait, you're telling me Richard Simmons isn't posting on Twitter?
He's been completely absent from social media for 3 years.
3 years. Wow.
Yeah.
He's got a website. You're saying he doesn't. Look at this.
I don't think he's the webmaster. I hate to break your heart.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, look at this. He's got a daily message, and the message is 6 days old.
So now you're just going to rag on him for his site?
I know.
All right. So Tom Estes, his manager, says that this is an utter load of crap. He said that he has purposely pulled himself out of the limelight, and people should respect that.
And that's what I'm saying. That
he's not being held hostage by his housekeeper.
I mean, it is weird that he's not leaving the house at all.
Maybe he's dying and he just wants to be alone.
That's what I mean.
Maybe he gained weight and he doesn't want to be seen.
I think that
maybe he can't fit through the door.
He's become this character, and I think he's getting old. And he's like, I don't want to be this guy 24/7. Like, what happens if you saw him in regular clothes? You guys would be like, what?
Yeah.
So now he's just like, he probably like wears it all the time. So now he's like, I just want to be this guy. I don't want to ruin my brand because it's making money. And so he's just kind of escaping out of the limelight, and everyone's just kind of like freaking out about it.
He's gonna take off his dolphin shorts and hang them up, man. He's done.
Yeah, because like, what does he wear around the house?
Yeah.
Does he wear that tank top just like laying out on the couch?
I feel like he always wears something sparkly tank toppy.
Yeah. Huh? Interesting story, man. I'm glad I got the details behind it because I've seen that, and the whole podcast thing I think is an interesting spin. But at the same time, I agree with his manager, man.
Leave him alone.
Leave him alone.
Leave Richard alone.
Exactly. He just wants to sit on his couch and smoke
The other
weed.
thing that's kind of funny is a lot of people have been posting memes with like Clinton and like other people like in the background. They're like, found him.
Yeah.
And it has like pictures of Richard popping up. And
Well, what's
stuff like
interesting is now that it's become this thing, and it's even made its way to our podcast, this may be the straw that makes him make a public appearance. Like go on over and say, listen, dude, nothing's wrong with me. I'm over it.
I'm actually pretty sure he listens to our podcast.
I hope so.
Yeah. So
I hope so.
he should probably come on here and talk to his fans
That's right.
because that's where they all are.
That's right. We're all here right now.
So let's go on to like the next huge topic that came out about halfway through today, and that was Vault 7. Did you hear about this?
No. You heard about it?
Yeah, but I haven't. I mean, it was. I guess the big thing's not everyone's read the whole thing yet. Now.
Right.
It's a lot.
How did you learn about this? How do you know about all this stuff that's happening? How do you know about Richard Simmons and Vault 7 and I don't know anything?
Well, Vault 7's the WikiLeaks
Yep.
thing.
Yeah.
I don't know the details.
Yeah. So
it's about. It's a lot of digital intelligence.
right. So the premise is that again, WikiLeaks has come out and they have said that there was a certain server that they hacked in Langley in the CIA headquarters. And it was this compound of cyber tools.
Yeah.
Basically, all these things that they would use to attack foreign governments.
So, Doug, you have a background in hacking from a very young age. When I hear stories like this, do you think it's possible that someone could hack into Langley?
Oh, yeah.
Like, no problem.
I don't think it's no problem, but I think
could be
it's
done.
possible. Yeah, absolutely.
You think you could? I mean, I'm not saying you would, but
No,
you
I
think
don't.
you could?
I am so far removed from anything like that.
I'm not saying you would do that, or even, but do you know people that could do that just have the technological knowledge to do something at that level?
I think I probably know people who could.
Yeah, in Langley. I'm not talking like know.
No one in Langley.
No.
But-
No, I'm not saying you know someone in Langley. You know people though that have the intelligence and understand programming enough to be able to hack into something that's secure.
Well, what hasn't been
Yeah.
hacked these days?
Yeah, almost like look at
Banks and
Yeah, but
everything,
Yahoo just like had that huge. They lost what $300 million off of their deal with Verizon because they got hacked. Like the most, it was the largest number of emails and personal data taken from anywhere.
Yeah.
So,
And you said that in
It
Langley,
happened
they
twice to them, didn't it?
yeah,
at Langley
they've not done well.
This Vault 7 hack that they found cyber tools in this server that our government uses to do what?
Yeah, it was not only tools; it was tools, reports.
Like when you say tools, what does that mean?
So they found a lot of code, and they published the code.
Yeah.
Which means that now it's in the public mainstream.
And we would use this code to like spy on other countries or something
So,
like that?
like the big one was, they talked about a couple of big ones, but one of the ones that everyone has is either an Android or iPhone.
Yeah.
And so they had code on there that they could put onto your phone remotely, and it would allow them access to your mic and your camera.
So you can listen to you. Because I always heard like cable companies can spy on you anytime they want by like turning on the camera inside the box. See, back in the day, this used to be your friends that were smoking a lot of crystal meth. Like they were like, dude, but all of a sudden they were right. Like it turned out like 10 years later, it's like, oh yeah, people do that stuff. Like that dude who was high at that party was totally right.
Well, there's actually a really famous picture of Mark Zuckerberg's desk in which he has the cameras on all of his devices have like a little flap on them.
I put a stamp. I never use it. The first thing I do when I get like a new laptop, I just put a stamp over it. I've never used my camera on my laptop. I put a stamp
Yeah, he
over
had
it.
like electrical tape on it.
Yeah, he had electrical tape.
And
Yeah.
you're just like, well, if he's not even safe, what makes us?
See, the difference between us and Mark Zuckerberg, though, is that like, what are people gonna like?
Yeah,
they're
no
gonna
one's
I'm gonna
targeting
hack into
us,
No
yeah.
Name's
Is
computer.
Zuckerberg his fast food restaurant?
Exactly. Like people are gonna go. I'm gonna hack into No Name's computer and download his Misfits file of MP3s that nobody wants to listen. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
No, nobody wanted them then.
yeah,
no one
nobody wants
them
them
now.
now. You know.
Yeah. So, but there's all kinds of other stuff that came out as well.
And what does this mean for us? Does this mean like I should demagnetize my credit card or something? Like, what am I supposed to do? Turn off my phone?
Well, like for example, do you have a smart TV?
No, man. I mean, I probably do. It's just probably not plugged in. I mean, all my technology in my house, like I have it, but it's just not used. Like I live a very kind of Luddite lifestyle. Like technology is very. I use it for what I need it for, and that's about it.
But do you have a TV like the one behind you?
Yeah, it's square or rectangle. Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Yeah, I mean, all those are like smart TVs now.
Yeah, I can plug whatever.
So like the other thing, so Samsung bases a lot of their platform off of Android. So that one of the big code hacks that they had was, I can't remember the name of it. It was called like Teardrop or something like that. And
I like how these the guys they name them all scary. Like, remember the Teardrop hack of 2015? Teardrop. It's all dramatic.
Yeah. So one of the things that they did was they had a malware that made the TV look like that off.
Yeah.
But it was actually on.
Yeah.
And they could get access to all the peripherals that were there as if the device were still on. So while it doesn't have a camera and doesn't have a microphone, you could use that to go from their devices to their internal devices.
Yeah.
So like if they had a baby monitor or something like that.
And then you could look through the baby monitor.
Exactly. Get all the
video.
video.
What kind of weirdo wants to sit there and look at a sleeping baby?
You never know what it's attached to, though. Yeah. Or if they have a surveillance system in their home. They have all kinds of things that they can do. The other one that was listed as huge was they had done a research report that was listed in there for Chrysler, for remote access to Chrysler cars.
So people can like drive your car
or crash your car.
Yeah.
With you in it.
Yeah. Well, isn't that the big fear of like all the smart cars, like even like Tesla, where everything's just kind of upgraded that people hack into? I mean, they've done it. Like I've seen dudes like on YouTube where like they'll take over a car with a cell phone and like cause it to swerve around and do all kinds of crazy
Teslas for
stuff.
sure, because they're all run on a computer.
Yeah.
And they're remote updates that you can just do like through Wi-Fi, and it's just really.
What's like the one, Kavon? What's the one thing like you have in your house that you think needs to be secured the most, besides your porno collection? No one can ever see that.
I don't know. I mean, I guess everyone says the phone is like your thing that you should worry about the most.
People tracking you. I mean, like I have my location off all the time because I don't like that. Like, you know.
Right.
But at the same time, if they can hack into Langley, if someone wants to follow me around, I mean, they can just probably turn my phone on remotely, right? I mean,
right. Well, and then
all that.
The other thing too is you have apps that you might not know what they're doing. There was a big controversy over Facebook. Facebook was turning on the mic.
Yeah.
And they didn't explain why they were turning on the mic, but they said that it was a research project that they were working on. But the whole premise was that maybe it listened for keywords and then put up ads that you were talking about right then.
Yeah.
It's kind of what they alluded, but it could be anything.
Yeah, it's weird that so much of this technology, like you're saying, like the eavesdropping technology or like the the data mining, it's all like sell crap. It's all to sell you like a lazy boy chair.
Right.
Well,
it seems like you should be like
those Amazon was Echoes.
Yeah.
Those things that you just like yell across the room, like, "Oh, hey, do this," and it's always the mic's always on those. And
yeah,
constantly saving audio.
Yeah, and there was one where a murder was committed in a house with an Echo, and they tried to subpoena all the information that was on it. And they found out that there's a certain percentage that it stores on the device.
Yeah.
And it's actually quite significant. So that.
Well, they claim you have to say the keywords to turn it on, but then there is other ones, not the
Why
Amazon
would you have
one.
to say the keywords to turn it on? Because it has to be listening to hear the keyword.
I guess my question about what are those called?
Same
like
thing with your phone. You say Siri. I mean, it's the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but what are those devices called? Like talk devices? Like what is that called, Doug?
They're like smart centers or something they're called.
That's my question. Like, why do I need something like that? Why do I need something in my house where I can be like, "Hey, Jack, what day is it?"
Well, it's like the reason that they think that it's a valuable tool is for small things that you're like when you're walking out of a room and you realize that you need something and you don't have like a piece of paper, you don't want to write it on a whiteboard. You're like, remind me or order like more paper towels, and then Alexa will have paper towels sent to you.
Okay, got it.
Or like,
well, because it's through Amazon, so that's ordering things.
Yeah,
is their ultimate goal.
But it's also like, you like the clapper. You want to like dim the lights in your room. You can say, Alexa, dim my lights by this percentage.
So it's almost
or Alexa, is the front door locked?
It's almost like when you go to like the hotel bar, right? And they do all the stuff by weight, so they know what you took to charge you.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of like that. Like eventually, like your refrigerator will know you're out of milk, so it'll just order more milk.
Yeah.
Well, there's those buttons too that Amazon has.
Yeah.
You can just push a button and it'll reorder. So you get one for like detergent and all that. And you just put it on your like washing machine. You just push it and then it'll automatically mail you one like by.
But how hard is it just to go to the store and buy like a gallon of milk? I mean, I guess that's the thing I don't understand.
Well, if you're Richard Simmons and you're shut in, you don't want to go anywhere.
I mean, and that's the thing. Like when I hear about all this stuff, because I understand what it does, but I'm like, are people really that busy? Like, are you telling me that like people now in 2017, especially because technology has made our lives so much easier, like they're that busy, like you have that much stuff going on that you can't go to the store and buy laundry detergent?
Business uses though, like to reorder pens or
maybe they're just that lazy.
Yeah, I mean, because like, what do you expect someone in the office like? Oh, run to Safeway and buy us some more whatever cookies for the cupboard.
I mean, a lot of it is literally digital assistant type stuff.
Yeah,
you know, or like you can if you're sitting in the room and you don't have your phone with you, you're like, hey Siri, what is X? Like, you know, how far are we from the moon? And it'll tell you.
Yeah, but shouldn't you know that? Like, I mean, if you're smart, shouldn't you know
how far are we from the moon?
Like, I don't know, a couple thousand miles?
Something like that. Let's go with that.
So you don't like personal assistants, even if they're real life people?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. No, I don't. I've never had one. I guess that'd be cool. Yeah, you just have a person that does everything for you.
If your band got big and you had roadies, you wouldn't want a roadie to set up your equipment and test it all and like basically do it all for you, and you just show up and play?
I don't know. I guess it depends how much money I was making.
Well, yeah, but it's not safe as like, you know, a drop in the bucket for you.
I think there's something about doing it yourself, right? I mean, I don't know. I guess you're right. Maybe over time, you know, you're kind of like,
say, obviously our podcast is huge, so you're filling a lot of calls from the podcast.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want an assistant? There's this company called like Ruby, and they'll like have a personal assistant that people call instead of bugging you. It schedules your calendar. It does everything for you.
I guess what I'm saying is I guess I'm just not that busy. I guess I love the technology. I think it's cool, but personally I just don't have any application for it. So to me it just sounds kind of weird. And not that, but I really don't know anyone who does.
Right.
So clearly I'm not rolling in the right circles as far as this stuff goes. Yeah. All I see, like when I see like a personal assistant, I see a TV commercial for a dad that doesn't know if a whale sleeps, and he's talking to his kid, and I go, "We're doomed. We're doomed."
Right.
You know, it's like if dads are that stupid that they have to ask a device in their corner about something that their kid's trying to explain to them, we're doomed.
Well, that was Google Home that they were doing that one for, but yeah,
you know what I mean? Like it's like dude,
what? I think Google one's the one that records everything at all times.
It might.
Amazon's one where you have to like tell it to like the keyword to turn on, but I believe Google is the one that will record at all times.
Oh, really?
And they don't want to say they hacked it, but they were able to find that server with like everyone's on there. Yeah.
So what happened with Langley?
Yeah. Okay. So back on track. The other thing that was really interesting that I found going on with this is that the CIA has been hoarding all of the external like other agencies' technology, but they're not releasing that technology to say Microsoft or whomever that it could exploit.
Yeah.
And almost like a false flag kind of, so it would be an imprint of like a Soviet attack.
Yeah. Wow, man.
So now a lot of people are saying, see, Trump was right. Like he knew exactly what he was talking about when like the U.S. government was like listening to my cell phones. They could even make it look like the Russians were doing it. So you can't trust anything. Yeah,
well, isn't that the thing? Didn't like wasn't that a famous quote from Agent Mulder? Trust no one. I mean, that's kind of isn't that like people have known that since the 90s?
Yeah, I live my life by what Agent Mulder said.
Well, I mean, you know, there are things that I think are you know in mass media that get put out there that are the truth, like the Wu-Tang Clan. I mean, scared money don't make money.
Right.
I based my entire financial future on a couple of Wu-Tang lyrics, and so far it's worked out for me.
But doesn't this also scream like more meddling? Because this just happens to come out when Trump can't validate where he heard this rumor of wiretapping. So it just happens to come out right at the time when the Republicans are kind of flailing to try and come out with a reason of how this could have happened.
So you're saying that it's a premeditated revelation or a made-up revelation? Or you saying it's not true? There was no hack?
No, I do say that there was absolutely a hack, but I think they're releasing it. So this is year 0 of the attack.
Hold on, write it down. Hold on, year 0.
But they're calling it. So there's going to be several more parts of this.
Yeah.
In which they say they're going to release more and more information that shows how much bad stuff the CIA has been doing or has. So I just think that you notice that all these leaks come out when Trump's like in trouble.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, I'm connecting the dots, Doug.
All right.
Throwing a lot of info at me.
All right.
There's a lot going on, but I'm following you.
Okay.
Sort of.
So basically, if you get a mail and it says, hey, click on this app, don't do it.
Exactly.
That's basically all you have to do.
Yeah. All right.
Don't follow a link that your friend sends you that's like some weird thing that you've never seen before.
Yep. All right.
So trust no one.
Fair enough. Trust no one.
And then the last thing that we're going to talk about is extreme sports.
Extreme.
Did you do an extreme sport?
Man, I feel like there was a good decade of my life that was extreme. You know, just extreme everything.
Just extreme Mike?
Just extreme life,
Well, what's
man.
considered extreme sports these days?
Everything.
I mean,
you could be an extreme walker.
Yeah, the extreme. I mean, the root of extreme sports was like X Games, like adventure.
Well, like
guys.
Skateboarding was an extreme sport, but it's
Right.
not anymore, right? That's what I'm saying.
No, it is still extreme.
Wasn't there like an Extreme Olympics?
Yeah, the X Games.
Yeah, X Games, and then it was like and then they had like all those extreme Doritos and extreme.
I think it's like there's like BMXing, and then there's like extreme BMXing, and then there's like motocross and extreme motocross. So I mean, it's like there's like skiing and like extreme skiing. So everything has like an extreme side.
Yeah, and what made it extreme was like you did something crazy. Like it wasn't like you were just skiing; you were like skiing an avalanche. You know? Like you go up and you like blow up a bomb to create an avalanche, and then you go skiing. It was like it made it crazy, and I thought those were kind of cool times, man. I mean, and I think the roots of it, if you go way back to the 80s and kind of early 90s, you had what? You had the Bad Boy Club, you know, those guys, like whoever those people are, you know?
I don't know.
You don't?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just Google Bad Boy Club and you'll see like what it was. It was like this like weird clothing thing where
I do remember that.
Yeah, like it was always these kind of tough guys that always wore tank tops and had like, you know, they were kind of like these crazy dudes, right? And then that kind of morphed into like extreme sports, you know, like the X Games and stuff. And then that morphed into like Limp Bizkit, and then it got weird, and then everyone just said, let's just stop the extreme stuff. Like at some point, I think it was 9/11. Like I think on September 11th, those planes hit the Twin Towers. They were just like, you know what, this whole extreme stuff, let's just stop. Let's just stop this. Let's
just go back in our houses and never come out again.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there's this guy, his name is Kyle Katsandris, and he's in Southern California, and he decided to make a Instagram video and a YouTube video in which he jumped a 4-lane highway. It's 660 freeway in Riverside County, and he took his motocross bike and just jumped straight across it.
It's awesome.
It was awesome.
It's crazy, but it's awesome.
He landed perfectly. It looked very cool. But when his account went viral, then the police started investigating.
Yeah, that's like with all like the side shows that they do. Like they shut down the Bay Bridge, and there's all these awesome videos. But it's like, some of these guys don't like, you know, have a.
Well, I saw a link to that, and I didn't watch it, but I just assumed it was all like properly set up. I didn't know.
No.
I don't know how they.
They didn't get any permits or anything. They literally just found a path that they thought would be enough distance to jump over it.
Yeah.
And then they jumped over it.
It's
midday.
These people
in
are
rush hour.
like the guys who jumped off that building in San Francisco.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up. I thought that's what you were that was leading to that. But is that even a sport, jumping off a building?
I think so. Yeah, building jumping. I saw a video where these dudes, you know, like how the Wiener Schnitzel roofs are like really kind of like tall. This guy had a dirt bike and he had like a little ramp, and he, like in the middle of the day, he flew up onto the Wiener Schnitzel roof and then like down it. just on this dirt bike. I was like, that's awesome. I mean, kind of crazy, but like, yeah, that's extreme. It's extreme.
It's suburban extreme sports.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the big thing that they're concerned about is that these kids, what if they had fucked up? What if they'd thrown their bike onto the highway?
Yeah, of course. It's not responsible. This is not responsible behavior, but Doug, that's what makes it extreme.
It definitely makes it extreme.
Yeah.
So you think they should still just do it? You'd be totally cool.
I would have to think that these guys had jumped the distance many times in the desert somewhere. Like, I don't think like
no, he has a whole YouTube channel of him doing that. But like, what if it's some idiot who's never done it?
Yeah, it just inspires a copycat that doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're afraid of. So they actually put boulders over that whole area.
Yeah.
To prevent people from doing this again.
Did they put a disclaimer in the video? Like, hey, dude, like, I'm a professional.
No.
I'm an extreme professional.
I don't think he is a professional.
I've been drinking Mountain Dew and eating Doritos since I was 6. And have been on a motocross bike since I was an embryo.
Yeah.
Don't try this at home.
Yeah, he actually came out of the womb on a motocross.
Yeah.
The mini one, the really tiny ones.
Yeah, man. Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome, Doug.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. Again, we're early into this, but the police are investigating on whether or not they're going to pursue and charge him.
I think they definitely will. Yeah, I mean,
well, they should.
Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. And then also, the guy put it on his public YouTube channel.
Now, let me ask you a question, Doug, because there's a local thing that's happened here where, like, dudes will get together on their motocross bikes and do, like, wheelies all across the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah.
Like, is that cool? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think.
Well, are they stopping traffic?
No, they were just all doing, like, maybe 8 or 10 dudes, and they're just all doing wheelies.
I've seen them where it's stop traffic and they do like the sideshows and they twirl around. And
yeah, that's a little different. But like, if you're just going, like, should a guy get a ticket? Should the cops like take the resources to pursue like 7 dudes on dirt bikes that are doing wheelies across the Golden Gate Bridge?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
But it was a big thing. I think they did.
Did they really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I mean, that's considered
reckless driving, endangerment,
I can see that.
I guess. But I mean, this sounds way more like this is the kind of stuff you got to make sure doesn't happen.
This I completely understand. That I think is,
Unless maybe what we should do as a country is just designate like a state, like call it crazy state, like make it like Nevada,
right?
Where you can just do whatever you want to do. Like you want to jump over freeways,
right?
So all these extreme crazy people just go there and like it's like Mad Max. Like people can do like you can do whatever you want. You want to jump off buildings,
You want to do drugs,
whatever.
Well,
there's not
much you can't do in Nevada.
That's true.
What's that?
There's not much you can't do in Nevada.
Yeah, we could just make Nevada crazy town.
Crazy state.
Except for they're trying to be more family friendly.
They are. They are.
So that's it. That's our vomiting rainbow for this episode.
Family friendly Burning Man.
Family friendly Burning Man. So thanks to Kavon for coming on, or shittyDj.
That's right.
Whomever he wants to be, because he can be whoever he wants in California.
Mm-hmm.
And please review, watch us on live stream on whatever we determine to use next week. You can contact us at contact@vomitingrainbows.com. We love any of your ideas, and review and rate us on all social media on We Vomit Rainbows.